Hey guys, how's it going? Joelster here. Welcome back to the channel. So this time I am continuing working with this monitor. This is the BenQ EW3280U. This is a brand new 4K HDR monitor that just released. BenQ release. This is also an IPS. So I'm interested to see how this works with the PlayStation 4. Now, in my previous video, I did a video with the Xbox One X. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I'm going to leave a link in the description, or probably a card right here on the top so you guys can check it out. So, as I said, this is the PlayStation 4. I used to have the PlayStation 4 Pro, but it broke down on me like about a year ago. So I just decided to buy the regular PlayStation 4. But I'm interested to see how the upscaling works, right? So welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Joelster, and let's do this. Alright guys, so I am going to go to my settings on the PlayStation. I'm going to go here down to the sound and screen, video output. Everything's pretty much going to be in automatic, as you guys notice. Even this supports HDR. Remember, the PlayStation 4 Pro and the regular PlayStation 4, both of them support HDR. And let's check out the video output signal. This is limited to 1080 at 60 Hz. And of course, like I said, it does support HDR as well. Although I do have to say that HDR does not look as good as when I used to have my PlayStation 4 Pro. So that is some little detail that I noticed. Let's check out Horizon Zero Dawn and let's see how this game looks, shall we? So after my PlayStation 4 Pro failed, I lost all my game data, all my information, and I had to pretty much start all over again. So I am level 3, finally level 3. But anyways, guys, I'm here to talk about how this looks on a 4K 60 HDR monitor, and let me tell you guys, it looks fantastic. I can't even tell the difference between if this is 1080p or 4K, because this monitor is upscaling the 1080p resolution to a much higher, of course, 4K, and it looks fantastic. Now, one thing I like about the PlayStation is that even on the menus right here, it gives you access to turn on or off HDR. As you guys can see, HDR is on right now, and then graphics mode is unavailable. On the Pro, you can change from performance to graphics, so this is not available on the regular PlayStation 4. But this is with HDR on, and Jesus, my goodness, it looks beautiful. Now, one thing about this monitor, guys, is that when it's on HDR, it can reach up to 400 nits, and it can also peak at around 430 nits normally. But when you're playing in SDR, then the monitor will reach up to 350 nits. Those extra 50 nits does make a huge difference. It does make a huge impact, especially in contrast. I did notice in contrast and color, but most in contrast. So let me see if I can show you guys how of a difference this makes. So this is with HDR, right? So let me just turn off HDR right now. So now I turn off HDR, and like I said, what the biggest difference that I notice is in the contrast, the black levels. I notice in her shadow is a little bit lighter. I notice the black's a little bit more washed out than when it's with HDR. And I also did notice the brightness is a little lower. You can see the whole picture, it gets a little dimmer. Well, you may not see it through the camera here, but in person it's a totally different story. So here's back with HDR, and I just noticed the peak brightness does increase, and also, like I said, the contrast, that is the major impact. But I did notice that with the PlayStation 4 Pro, it was more noticeable. The difference between SDR and HDR on the Pro is much more noticeable. Now, another thing about this monitor, guys, is the sound system. This is a 2.1 sound system, which means that there's 2 speakers in the front, and then there's one subwoofer in the back. this is excellent on monitors, especially if you don't want to have like extra speakers, like if you don't care about having like extra speakers and wires running through your computer or anything like that. The monitor just comes with built-in speakers and they're front facing you, which is excellent. And also BenQ includes like this equalizer, so you can change, for example, right now it's on party, rock and party, which is my favorite, to be honest. And then game mode and game sound, it is more focused on the dialogue. Same with the dialogue. I feel like both of these sound modes, they sound the same. There's also cinema, which is the one that I'm using. Cinema is more also more full sound. I noticed that in cinema there's more bass, and also live, this live pop, it sounds very similar to cinema. So if you guys are interested in having a much better sound, this is a great option for the monitor. I love that BenQ includes all this. I'm gonna use game to see if we focus more on the dialogue. Alright guys, so now I'm playing Spider-Man, the game right here on the PlayStation, and as I show you on the previous video with the Xbox, this monitor offers different types of HDR. In this case I'm using the native HDR from the game, and as you guys notice, it is very bright. So, but also BenQ includes HDRI, which is on game mode, which it'll adjust the brightness depending on the ambient light that you guys have in the room. In my case, I do have a light turned on, but it's not that bright of a room, so it'll adjust the brightness. So I put it on, and then you'll start noticing the screen does get a little bit dim. But what I like about this is that it keeps all the colors very vibrant, saturated. I mean, in all the contrast, it keeps everything balanced. The only thing it does is just adjust the brightness of the monitor. So that way, let's say that you are in a dark room, you don't get all this blown brightness in your face. You know, that's what I like about that. It keeps a balance. So there are two modes. This is for when you're gaming. So also the performance keeps it on the highest level. So that way you guys enjoy a good visuals and also good performance. I like how BenQ it's including all these settings, because trust me, when you're working in a dark room and then you get all this peak brightness at you, it really does hurt your eyes. Even though this monitor is on the entry level HDR, this is the HDR 400, right? There's also 600 and there's also 1000. But if you think this is not bright enough, you might think that twice, because when you're facing this monitor in a dark room, my goodness, it does get super bright. Alright guys, so now we're gonna play another game that runs very smooth. I remember playing this on the PlayStation 4 Pro and it ran at 4K 60 with HDR. I really like it. But I did notice that right here on the regular PlayStation 4, it also runs very smooth too. Oh my god, I pressed the wrong button. But anyways, this game is running at 1080p and it feels super fast. Now remember, this monitor is limited to 60 Hz of refresh rate, but if you have a PC and you want to connect this to a PC, you can overclock it to up to 75 Hz of refresh rate. So that is pretty awesome. It's too bad that you can't do that with consoles, but at least you have that option, you know. Now one thing about this monitor is that the colors also look great. I do notice that since this is an IPS panel, contrast is not that great. This is around 1000 to 1 contrast ratio, so don't expect blacks to be deep black. It's more like dark gray. And I also did notice some glowing at the corners, especially at the bottom. But that's what it is with IPS monitors. But when it comes down to colors, oh my god, colors look beautiful. That's what I like about IPS monitors. Alright guys, so even though in games that don't support HDR, I like that BenQ includes this HDR emulated mode. So let me just show you real quick. So right now I'm regular SDR, but I can use HDR emulated. Now this is not native HDR, but it does help to increase the contrast. So basically what they do is they increase the contrast and they also increase the color vibrancy. So the colors are a little bit more saturated. And then you can also use, for example, HDRI in game or HDRI in cinema, just like I showed you in the previous video. But if you want just a regular HDR emulation, this is a great option. And I do notice the color difference. You guys notice? It does look pretty cool. All right, I'll take this one. And the game feels very responsive. That's why I like this. It feels good, it feels smooth. The input lag, it's around 9 milliseconds on this monitor, so it's not that bad. And this is doing a great upscaling from 1080p to 4K 60. It looks beautiful. So if you're looking for a 4K monitor, even though if you don't have like the PlayStation 4 Pro, but if you're looking for a 4K monitor, this is a great option, guys. I like how beautiful and responsive this looks. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, if you want to see specific kind of games. On my next video, I'm probably going to show you a side-by-side comparison with a VA panel to see what is the biggest difference. But in the meantime, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Jolster. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, if you like this kind of content, of course. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Jolster out.